Hey, 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 my special people. Okay. I decided that I needed to talk to you tonight. I really did. And I want to apologize. I owe you an apology. I'll make another official apology for not showing up for you. You know, you never really know how significant your presence is to people. And God has an amazing way of reminding us that we are important and that we are necessary. And I had the pleasure today of attending the first annual Heartland International Fashion Week Luncheon by Goldstein. And let me just tell y'all something. The caliber of women that were there and their stories blessed me to the point it brought me to tears. It broke me. It broke me down. Because sometimes being the strong one, you don't really know who you can go to talk about things that bother you, that are troubling your spirit. And I'm just grateful that I was open enough, because see, sometimes we miss it because people feel like, oh, they can't tell me anything. You're never too old to learn. You are never, ever too old to learn. And you want to keep that type of spirit there. I wish I could go down the list and name all of the women that were there. And maybe later on I will do that. But there was such a huge representation of women of color, of all women, actually. And I was very transparent today. And I wasn't planning on doing that. You know what I mean? I was like, Lord, because I had a hell of a week. Can I just say that? I had a hell of a week. And it was such a week that I got weak. I really got weak. I got very weak. I became extremely discouraged. And the enemy wasn't letting up. He was not letting up. He was not letting up. And I felt like maybe I needed to end it all. I felt like an imposter. I was feeling like a fraud. And sometimes when we don't give ourselves enough credit to really look at how far we've come, we'll get caught up in measuring ourselves against other people. And, I just was bombarded with feeling like I let my son down, just a lot. And it just hit me all of a sudden. But I'm grateful to God that I had bought the ticket for the event a few weeks ago. And I said, you know what? As a media rep, usually, you get comp tickets. And I said, no, I'm going to buy my ticket. I'm going to buy my ticket because this is important and this stuff is not free, right? And then I had a situation where I didn't have transportation. And I was like, oh, God, really? And I was just like, you know what, Lord, I can't take another thing. I can't stand for another thing to happen. You ever been to that point where you're like, if one more thing happens, Jesus, and that's where I was. I was at that, if one more thing happens, Jesus. And I want to say this to you all, because when I opened up at the event, there were multiple people with tears in their eyes. When they felt like I was starting to feel like a burden. And sometimes that's why people commit suicide, because they feel like a burden. They feel like, I'm doing the best I can. I appreciate people who are helping. But then there's that point where you feel like, I'm a grown woman. I need to take care of myself. And if you're not careful, it's harder to receive the help. And then you'll start feeling less than. Because when you're accustomed to struggling, and that's what one of my professors told me one day. He was like, Dolores, you don't live there anymore. That type of struggle isn't there anymore. And so it's okay to breathe. It's okay to appreciate that what you went through back then, you don't ever have to go through again. And it was just a lot. It was just a lot. But one of the things I'm going to encourage you to do is whenever you feel that way, I need you to reach out. I need you to do something you really don't want to do, which is to go and be around people, because you never know. You never know where your breakthrough is going to come through. And I recently did several videos about when is enough ever going to be enough? You know, when are you ever going to be good enough? And I started, hey, Florida's in the building. Then China from Florida. All right. I started thinking about the rejection in media. You know, first I was told I didn't have enough experience. I was told I wasn't articulate enough. And then I put my hair up in a bun and the lady told me I looked too old. And then she told me she gave a job to somebody else because they had more experience, although they were younger than I and hadn't even been in the business long. And it just, you know, you just get to feeling like, man, when is enough going to be enough? And you have to decide that. The other thing is, what I had to realize, because I started to do this again, you can't put all of your eggs in one basket, meaning you can't say this one job is going to make all my dreams come true, because that's too much pressure. See, I was like, okay, once I get on TV, once I get, you know, this talk show, once I do this, once I do that, then I'm going to be able to live my life on another level. And I forgot that I was putting all of my eggs in one basket, because we're multi-dimensional. I'm a speaker. I'm an author. I'm a writer. I'm a voiceover actor. There's so many different, I'm a singer, praise and worship. I mean, just so many other aspects of my life, but sometimes you hone in on that one thing. And that's what happens with some people when they're going for their dream and it doesn't seem like it's really manifesting as quickly as other people. And you keep thinking, if I could just get this one promotion, if I could just get this one thing. And I want to tell you, you don't need to do that. And then I want to ask the question, as the video says, where have you been hiding all these years? There was one particular young woman, and I want to get this right. She has something called Glow Nation. And she was giving her story and her testimony, and she's a full-figured young woman. And she was, you know, she was told that she was, none of the models looked like her, and she turned herself over into a very promiscuous lifestyle because she just wanted the love. And she was so transparent today. And as she was speaking, she said, you know, God told me to just come from behind the table. And so she came from behind the table, and she just shared her story about how just showing up, she was able to have a commercial on Toyota. I mean, just things that had she stayed in the background. And some of us, we don't want to be noticed because maybe something happened to you. And I know of women who've been molested or raped, and they will wear clothes that are really too big because they don't want to draw attention to themselves. I also know of women who were, you know, abused and talked down to, although they were extremely beautiful, and they don't want the accolades. Like, no. We're going to say yes, yes, yes to that. Because your hiding doesn't serve the world. It hurts you, and it really hurts other people. So I thought about a couple of things, but first I want to shout out Bossade again, because when I got there, I got a ride. I had Lisa drop me off, and I said, you know what? I know a lot of people. I know I can get a ride home. Okay. But I had to be there. So I walk in, and there's Bossade, and she goes, oh my God. I prayed and told God I need something. And Dolores, every time I see you, there is so much life that you give me. She was thanking God that I showed up because my presence gave her a sense of peace. And sometimes you think you're just showing up just to be showing up. Nope. My presence gave her a sense of peace. Now, she had no idea what I struggled with yesterday. And then Style Therapy, I got to say hi to her. She was there as a vendor. And I went over and she's like, oh, Dolores, it's so good to see you. And I was like, girl, you know I had to see you. 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 And when I gave my story today, which I didn't plan on doing that. As you can tell, I cried all my makeup off and one eyelash may be crooked. I don't know. Bossade came up and held me, and she was weeping, and there were so many people weeping because sometimes you're smiling and people don't know that you're really hurting. And so when I talk about where have you been hiding all these years, I want you to begin to embrace your uniqueness. I want you to embrace the fact that God made you the way you are. And if there are certain things that you want to change about yourself, then you got to have a plan, you got to prepare, and you got to expect it. So I don't just accidentally eat a donut. You know, I don't accidentally eat donut. See a donut, I'm gonna eat the donut. So I can't say I accidentally got fat. No, I ate certain things that made me larger than life. And so the same way I didn't, you know, fall in by mistake eating that donut, I had to be very strategic on what it is I need to do to be the best version of Dolores Jones that I possibly could be. I also thought about how last week a friend or a follower, her cousin shot himself. He killed himself. And when I saw his picture, the first thing I thought was, I said, oh, he is so fine. Like, that black man is fine. And then in talking to her, I said, well, what happened? You know, she's like, well, he sat in his car and he used the gun and he ended it. I was like, oh my God. Well, he had lost his mom. And sometimes losing people, it's hard. And right now, we need so much prayer and so many people to just check in on us. Because I don't know about you, but I've lost multiple people in a short period of time. And grieving looks different to everybody. And some people feel like they can't come back from that because they're like, what can I do without how can I live without my mother? Hold on, children. Oh, Bella and Benji. You sit down. Y'all know I got these children over here. Bella Rose, you're bigger than Benji. And Benji, leave Bella alone. I'm regulating. And I want to thank God for the dogs because they do kiss you in the morning and it made me feel good. But right now, y'all working my nerve. I'm about to put you outside in the name of Jesus. And we're back. Where was I at? Rhonda. Carlton. Yeah. They were fighting. Maybe you're fighting. You know, you're fighting for your life. You're fighting to feel like you matter. And I want you to know that you do matter. I want you to know that you matter. You matter more than you actually know. And there's somebody like Boss Today, somebody that needs to see you. Even, you know, if you ain't got your lashes on, it's just something about you. Your presence resonates with them, your story. And it's still your story. I don't care, you know, if right now you feel like a bum, you feel like a failure, you matter. So then no sooner than I, you know, share my words at this event, this beautiful young Asian woman, no, she was Hispanic, and she had won a pageant. But when she came over to me, she said, thank you for sharing how you felt. And she began to cry because she had been to the point of suicide, like writing the letter. And I know what that feels like. I know what that feels like because you feel like the world would be a better place without you, but that's not true. And so her big, beautiful eyes just filled with tears. And she's like, I need to hug you. And then she began to share with me that she has a movement about suicide in her community because a lot of her friends that she went to school with, check this out, a lot of her female friends that she went to school with, and she's young, she's a millennial, they have committed suicide. I love you too. They committed suicide. And see, suicidal thoughts will creep up on you. It'll just creep up on you. You're like, you missed that one again. You ain't gonna never get it. And that's so not true. And I remember hearing these questions in my mind. It's like, are you gonna come back from this, Dolores Jones? You the comeback coach. I was like, God, am I gonna come back from this? You know, you start to question your faith sometimes. You get hit with an uppercut and, you know, it's like you get blindsided. And you're just like, wait a minute. I didn't see that coming. Because usually if you can see something coming, you can prepare yourself for it. But it's like, I didn't see that coming. I wasn't ready for that. But I want you to know you don't have to be perfect. You just need to be truthful. The people that you admire most struggle just like you, if not worse. Because as a comeback coach, as a person that's there to help other people, I have a higher expectation of myself. So when I find myself falling into areas of self-doubt or insecurity or various things like that, I'll say, you can't feel like that. Well, yes, you can. That's what qualifies you as a comeback coach. But I was like, Lord, I don't need to feel nothing else, Jesus. I done came back from burying my mother when I was 5 years old. She died at 21. I was homeless. I saw drugs in the home, Lord. I've had 2 divorces. I've been choked. I've been hit in the mouth. Just a lot. Single mom. But I've also met Oprah and I've been on television. I wrote a book. I mean, all these different things. But when you're feeling low, that's when those moments of vulnerability show up and it tries to bring to the forefront everything you didn't do well. Everything you didn't do well. And I was talking to a social media branding specialist, and she said, Dolores, who's your market? I was like, honey, I don't know. She said, no, there are women who have had to come back from something. I said, well, I'm 50. She said, well, if you want to target women who are 50, showing women who are 50 and mothers, or showing women who are 50 years old and they're now freshly divorced. What does that look like to come back from that divorce? What does it look like to come back from mental illness? What does it look like to come back from just whatever? There's a plethora of things out there. And I got to thinking, and I was telling Lisa in the car today, I said, Lisa, you know what? Coming back as a woman takes a lot. Why? Because some of us, we tend to give so much of ourselves so soon because we want to see the best in people. And I got to thinking about, I had bought my house like 14 years ago. And then I let one person in my space, one wrong person. Remember? One bad apple. And my whole life changed. I started making decisions without recognizing my own boundaries or my own non-negotiables. See, there are certain things you're like, that's not negotiable. And one of the ladies at the event said, as a model, she said, I am never going to model naked. So that's one of her non-negotiables. So if you need somebody to model naked, you need to go find somebody else. But sometimes in our desperation, we find ourselves doing things that we normally would not do because of desperation. Now, see, we are moved by a couple of things. We're either moved by inspiration or desperation. And at this particular time in our lives, a lot of people are moving from desperation because of the jobs they once had that they thought they would have for a lifetime. You know, there's no such thing as retiring now from certain companies. And so now you have the opportunity to become an entrepreneur. Well, Dolores, what do I do? Well, you need to talk to some entrepreneurs. Well, what else do you need to do? Well, you need to get online and find some free training. You know, I found a training for $19. It was on sale for a certification as a life coach. I was like, what? But normally it was like $200. So it's out there, but you have to make yourself go and find it for you, not for anybody else. Okay, Carlton. Carlton said he need to come back too. Okay. I'm going to remember that. So anyway, before I go tonight, I had said to myself, Dolores, people need to see you. They need to hear your voice. You have to show up because there's somebody who is depending upon your presence. Like when I get, become discouraged or something like that, I'll go, I need to watch Les Brown, or I need to hear this person, or I need to hear Tommy Terrell sing, or I need to hear this person sing, or, I start thinking about the people who speak to my soul, speak to that part that nobody can see, right? And it's the anointing. People say this to you. They'll say, Miss Jackson, it's just something about you. It's the glory. It's the glory. So don't rob people of the glory that's on your life. I used to hide a lot. And sometimes if people don't call me out, I'll go hide again. But that's what Marianne Williamson was talking about when she said our deepest fear is not that we're not powerful. Our deepest fear are that we are powerful. Our deepest fear is not that we are powerful. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful. Something. So then she said, it's not our darkness, but our lightness that frightens us. And she goes on to say, you ask yourself, who am I to be powerful, amazing, these different things. And she said, who are you not to? You are made in the image and likeness of God Almighty. And your willingness to show up and stand out gives other people permission to do the same thing. To do the same thing. And when we realize this mission, our purpose, is not about us, that we are here as a representation, as a manifestation for someone who is currently going through something that you survived or that you're currently in and you're still surviving. Right? Because there are certain things, when I'm in a situation, I don't go looking for just anybody. I'm like, Lord, I need to go talk to so-and-so. She can get a prayer through. Lord, I need to talk to so-and-so because I know she just had this situation maybe 5 years ago. She can give me some insight and she can shorten the learning curve. And that's why you have to have quality people in your life that are feeding you to go to the next level, not draining you. Because they're afraid that if you leave, that's it for them. We have to learn to cut the cord of these codependent relationships and learn to fly. One of the Hispanic women that was on the panel, Alexandra, and she said this, and she said, you know, she came to a point in her life where she had to say, do I stay in my comfort zone or do I take the challenge? Am I willing to get uncomfortable to take the challenge? And she kept asking herself, and then she would say, God, what do you want me to do? And he would say, take the challenge. And so she went from being in college as a biology major. Next thing you know, she was working for Lancome, and now she's working for Dillard's. But in between there, another opportunity presented itself at Univision Television. And she's bilingual. And so they hired her as a freelance reporter without experience because she was who she was. But had she not taken the challenge and talked herself out of it, then that would not have been a part of her story. I was like, man, that's amazing. I just want to know how long you've been hiding all these years. And when are you planning on coming back? It reminds me of a story when I worked at Barnes & Noble. Honey, I was glad just to be at Barnes & Noble for $150 every week. I was just like, you know what, just give me my check every Friday. Well, one day I'm there and I am smiling and I'm greeting this lady and I'm giving her her books and her bag. And I said, thank you for coming into Barnes & Noble. Have yourself a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. So as the lady was getting ready to leave, she stopped in her track. She turned back and she looked at me and she said, God said you're supposed to be on television. And I'm like, God, for real, you're just going to bust me out? You gonna bust me out here in Barnes & Noble? I'm cool with this $150 check every week. You know? Now, knowing I could do much better, but I was just like, shoot, I'm gonna get this $150. And I was only there seasonal. And then another one of my coworkers there, she bought me this book dealing with Brian Pitts, who's a journalist, and his story. And I was like, okay, Jesus. So then, do you think I got the picture? No, I went and got into another job, child. I didn't turn no camera on. I just went on and got me another job, working as a director of social services, making $60,000 a year. I was like, who got some money now? But money is not necessarily your mission. You know what I mean? So I'm there, and I remember this lady named Miss Goldstein. She might be gone on to glory because it's been a couple of years. Miss Goldstein is this woman, and she could not, she's a very regal white woman. I mean, regal. Because let me tell you something. I don't care if you're in a wheelchair. I don't care if you hop on one foot. Your essence is going to shine through. And so Ms. Goldstein, at the time, not a lot of people knew this, that I would go on Channel 5 for Better Kansas City on Mondays. And then I would come into the office and work as the director of social services. So one day I go in to check on Miss Goldstein, and I'm like, hi, good morning, Miss Goldstein. Let me say, Miss Goldstein had her curls together, honey. Her clothes were on point. She had a lipstick. Now her hands worked, and her feet didn't. But honey, so I said, okay, Diva. So when I go in to say good morning, she says, what are you doing here? And I'm like, well, Miss Goldstein, I'm here to, check on you. She says, I don't mean that. I don't mean that. I mean, why are you here? You're supposed to be somewhere in Hollywood. You're supposed to be somewhere on television. Miss Goldstein we had never talked about this. So God busted me out at the nursing home. I was like, okay, Jesus, you know what? All right. And there comes a point where you have to say, Ollie, Ollie, and free. Because it hurts. Because it hurts more to keep hiding than it does to show up. See, you can convince yourself that you're okay, but you really are not okay. Meaning, you get that job and you're like, I'm good. And as you get older, that regret gets louder. And you don't get a do-over. You either gonna do it or you're not gonna do it. You don't get a do-over. When it's time for you to go on to glory, whatever you have done, that's it. You're either going to give it to us or you're going to take it to the graveyard. That's it. That book, you're either going to write this book and put it out there, even if you have mistakes in it, or you're going to take it to the graveyard. Now, don't you think those of us that are alive would really appreciate what you have, even if it's a cookie? They'd be like, oh my God, that's the best cookie, girl. Who made these cookies? I did. Shortcake. Who made this shortcake, girl? That's the best shortcake ever. We need your recipe. We need your presence. We need that little girl, that little boy needs to see, hey, KJ, I was just talking about you. That little girl, that little boy, they need to see you show up. They say a picture is like 1,000 words. Your presence is so powerful. It's so powerful. It's so powerful. Mary, they had a song called It's the God in Me. It's the God in me. It's the God in me. People are looking for real people that they can identify with. People are looking for people who are willing to be vulnerable and say, hey, I don't get it together all the time. I got 3 degrees and I still thought about suicide. I was getting ready to write the letter. People need to hear stuff like that. Because when the women saw me today at the event, I was all like, they were like, girl, you got your hair together. You got your lipstick on. But it didn't mean anything. God broke me right there in that event. And what if Boss today had not did the event? And this was her first one. I was like, God, he knows how to orchestrate stuff, right? But we just have to be willing participants. And I think it was Monique Cherie, who was one of she was the MC as well. And she said, your purpose is bigger than your perceived flaws. I said, girl, you better come on. I'm going to make it rain up in here. Your purpose is larger, is greater than your perceived flaws. Now, you're going to have people who are all about image, but then you're going to have people who really want the message. You're going to have people that will say, oh, look at that eyelash, girl. I think her eyelash was coming off. And they missed the whole thing. They missed the whole thing. Hey, children, cut it out. Cut it out. They missed the whole thing. You were like, girl, you paying attention to her makeup? When the message, did you hear the woman say she was suicidal? Did you hear the woman say this is what God did for her? Did you hear the woman say that she used to be promiscuous? You know, they were giving heart-to-heart conversations up there. Did you hear the woman say, but God? So you need to be, when you go to this stuff, you can't just sit by anybody. You be like in class, the teacher say, you gonna let somebody steal that from you? You playing the fool in class, and then you get out in the world. Now you're looking like a fool because you was playing the fool and you let somebody else interrupt you when you should be sitting there taking notes so that this stuff can help you later. Daryl Coley had a song, and it's called "He Is Preparing Me." And I used to listen to that song all the time. And it said, "He is preparing me for something that I cannot handle now. He is rearranging me. He's getting me ready just because he cares. He's providing for me. And he's doing what I need to carry out and to overcome every battle in my life. God is preparing me." Your problem is preparation for your purpose. I think somebody need to type that in there. Come on. Letitia, go ahead and type that in there. Your problem is preparation in your purpose. You know, that problem that you have, you find the solution. And when you know it's the solution, there are people who will pay you for that. And sometimes you think, oh, it's going to be money. No, sometimes I had somebody give me a $5,000 training. $5,000? Everybody else paid $5,000. I pay $0. I had somebody recently. She said, "I'm going to help you." She said, "I normally don't respond to people's comments, but God said, you need to respond to her comment, KJ." And she said, "Well, God," he said, "no, respond to her." And she was the exact person that I needed. Because sometimes you have it, but you don't have the structure. You know, but you need a team. So you can start asking God, strategically put people in my space. And here's the thing. When God does it, the people really aren't looking to you for their reward, because it's something God told them to do. See, there are times, I have a book, I have several, but one of my books is called Stop the Dumb Stuff. And dumb stands for destructive, unsettling, miserable behavior. And I have been at conferences where God would say, "Give her a book." I was like, okay. And I remember giving this woman a book. And next thing you know, this young girl came up to me maybe a year later. It was her daughter. And she was like, "My mom read your book, Stop the Dumb Stuff. And then she gave me the book. I just got to tell you, Miss Dolores, it was so powerful. You really helped me. You really blessed me." I was like, and the book is 73 pages. And see, some people will say, "Well, if I ain't got 100 pages, no, honey, all you need is like 60 some pages." And sometimes you can write a pamphlet. God bless you too. Sometimes you can write a pamphlet. And it'll be exactly what somebody needed. I tend to write my books where you can put them in your purse or in your book bag, Carlton. And I want to get to the point. I want to get to the point. Because I realize when I'm in pain, baby, I'm not trying to go through an encyclopedia. I need you to give me the goods. Give me the 1, 2, 3. Okay, I don't need 7, 8, 9, 10, turn left. No. I need it simple, sweet, and straight to the point. Keep it simple, sweetie. Because you need to be able to chew on it. You got to chew on it. What did she say? Oh, yeah. But if I give you 2, there was Ronnie checking on me. So thank y'all. By the way, I'm Dolores Jones, the comeback coach. Lord have mercy. I help you create breakthroughs and turn your setbacks into success stories and comebacks. All right. Okay. I just wanted to do this video to encourage you, and I want you to know that you're perfect the way you are. And that every pain point that you have, KJ talks about it, somebody needs a solution for that. And you have the solution. but you got to be willing to share the solution. You can't keep hiding. One of my mentors, Dr. Reuben West, he said to me, Dolores, if you had the cure for cancer, do you think people would care if you gave it to them in a paper bag? And I was like, no. Do you think they would care if you gave it to them in a trash bag? No. He said, why? I said, because they want the cure. He said, when you realize that you got the cure, you're not going to worry about what it looks like. You don't have to be pretty and packaged. It just needs to be powerful and purposeful. Oh, it don't have to be pretty and packaged. It needs to be purposeful and powerful. You know, when God slays me out, I'll be like, Jesus, for real, you just gonna do me like that? You just gonna do me like that? You just gonna mess up my makeup, Lord? Okay, eyelashes coming off, Father. Really, God? Because see, when you really want it, you just be like, just give it to me right now. Just give it to me. Pour it in my hand. Remember that movie, I'm going to get you sucker? Said, but how much is one rib? How much is some Coke? Pour it in my hand. You're going to be like Gideon. Gideon's army. Gideon, a lot of people don't remember the story, but Gideon had an army, and God had a purpose for him. And I think it was 300,000 men. And God told him, there are too many. He's like, what? I need all the help I can get. He said, no, I want you to take them down, and I want you to give them a task. I want you to have them drink water from the ocean. And he said, and those that get down and lap like dogs, those are your people. But those who take it up in their hand, those are not your people. And sure enough, when God got through, Gideon had 300 people. A fraction. 30,000, 300,000. That sounds awesome. But God knew what those people were made of. He said, anyone that gets down and laps the water. Can you imagine like this? Like, I don't know. I wouldn't have made the cut, but I would. Why? Because they don't care. They got the hands open. They're ready. You know, they're licking. You know, but here I am trying to be cute. Listen, forget about people who left. Let them go. But we were friends forever. Yes, you were. Well, not forever. Because people come into your life for a reason, for a season, and for a lifetime. And the problem is how it ends, right? If we knew it was ending the way we wanted it to end, we just like, okay, well, okay, girl. But when the person stops calling you and don't tell you why. When a person blocks you on social media and they don't tell you why. But you hear it through the grapevine. And you're like, but we've been friends forever. But why would she talk to me? When a person sees you coming and they go the other way. And then, you know, I used to be like, well what I do? Let me call you. Can I go to your job? And I said, I'm not doing that anymore. We grown women. You know what you want and what you don't want. And if we're intelligent and mature women and friends like we say we are, friends aren't just going to drop you like that. Y'all going to have a good conversation. They're going to say, girl, listen, you messed me up with that. And right now I just need some time. Y'all don't have communication. You're not going to have silliness when you see somebody in public and they act like they don't see you. That is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Here she comes. Don't look over there. Don't look over there. Don't look over there. If you look or not, it ain't going to stop what God got for me. It's not. And then don't try to back them up against the wall. Well, why? Don't let them lie. Because, see, that's their issue. It's not your issue. Now, if you did something and it didn't sit well with them, then apologize. But the one thing is after you apologize, you can't tell them how to respond. And that's usually hard because people don't respond like you. Like me, I'll go, okay. You know, I remember I was in marital counseling, and it's supposed to be a confidential experience. And I was with a female therapist at church. And little did she know, she went home to talk to her husband. And she was telling her husband about what went on in our session. Well, she didn't know that she butt dialed my estranged husband. So she was going on and talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. And everything she said was on his phone. So he comes over, he's upset. I'm like, what is wrong with you? He takes his phone out and he plays it. And the woman was telling her husband about what we talked about in confidence. And some of the stuff could have sent my ex over the top. He could have came and said, you know what? I heard this and I'm going to kill you. I was devastated. But then I was like, okay, God, now I know. But even after that, I still love her. She's like, I am so sorry. I said, okay. He's like, we're going to sue the church. We're going to say, nah, we're not doing all that. We're not doing all of that. I just know, don't confide in her. Her integrity in that area wasn't where it needed to be. Now, does that change that she's a powerful woman of God? No, it just means in that moment, you know, I think you have to have somebody that you're going to vent to. But you got to make sure you don't butt dial the person's husband or wife and set somebody up. You understand what I'm saying? Anyway, I think this video is going too long, so I'm going to wrap it up. This is what we do in TV. It'd be like this. Wrap it up, Dolores. Wrap it up. Wrap it up. I just want you to come out from hiding because we need you and you're necessary. And if you need to inbox me, DM me. We have to do this together. There's no one person that can do this alone. And I believe God made it that way. I know. Well, no, we didn't pay for it. It was at the church, Karen. It's free. Free counseling at the church, honey. Maybe I should ask for my tithes back. I'm joking. Jesus. You made me think about something. One time my grandmother was in the hospital and I was listening to these preachers and they were saying, you know, come on, Benji, come on. Oh, hold on, y'all, hold on. Come on. Come. Okay. He just got to get in the business. Say hi to the people. Say hi. Say hi. Jealous. Bella's getting jealous. Okay. You want to come up here too, baby? Huh? You want to come, Bella? You want to say hi? You want to say hi now? Okay, hold on. Come here, Bella. Come here. Oh, no. You see, they just want to do the same thing, don't they? Anyway, so... Benji, go play. Go. These kids done worked my nerve again and took my thought. Jesus, give it back to me. Oh, so the person was saying, you know what? God is going to heal her. And so I took my grandmother's check and I wrote a check to the church. She said, you better go back to that church and get my money. Go back to that church and give my money. I don't belong there. And so I had to go back to the church and say, I need a refund on the tithes. We can laugh about it back then. You know, God isn't going to stick you up like that. Talking about you get a miracle if you got $20. God ain't got no debit card. You better wake up, get people just doing all kind of outlandish stuff. One woman said that there's some false prophet. Now, here's the thing. They can tell you certain things, and then they start to dilute it. And so the woman said that this prophet told her that if she didn't send him a certain amount of money, that the baby she was carrying was going to have a birth defect. And so the woman sent him a debit card so that whatever he asked for, she would put it on the card. And then finally, you know, he took it to the baby thing. And she was like, you know what? Oh, he said, your baby's going to have a birth defect and you're going to lose your right leg. God don't need no fear factor. He's a God of love. Perfect love casts out fear. So don't y'all fall for the okie doke, because some of us have anyway. I'm done. For real though. All right. I know Letitia said, what? Yes, honey. Really? One time they had a what they call them lines where you get some money. Baby, the prophet said, I'm going to give somebody $20. I was like, hey, let me get your $20 so I can give it right back to you. Okay? Because if God is doing that, you believe that, help us sister out, give me that 20. You don't have to get in a line. You can give. God knows how to bless you. You know what I mean? You got to use scare tactics. That's why your hair fell out. I was like, my God, y'all need some money up in here, don't you? Y'all better do something better with your books. Why I got to go blind? Because you need something. Just, that's why your car got repossessed. Wait a minute. Isn't the church house I'm supposed to be able to come and get my needs met? Well, all right then. Don't come for me. Don't come for me, devil. Anyway, I enjoy my time with you all. Make sure that you go ahead and go over to YouTube and subscribe to Dolores Jones TV. I'll put it in the message, as well as if you feel so inclined to be a part of what I'm doing, my Cash App, I'll put that there. It is actually $ my comeback coach. Yeah, $ my comeback coach. And I just want you to know I appreciate every cent, nickel, dime, and penny that you give, because it's important. I used to sweep up the pennies and put them in the trash until God said, wait a minute. So because that's a penny, you gonna put it in the trash? I was like, well, he said, it's still worth something. It's not silver, but those pennies add up. So honey, I had to get back down and get the pennies out the trash. I said, you're right, God. And maybe you feel like a penny. Maybe you're not shining bright like a diamond right now. But that copper, that penny, is significant. There was a news story, an article recently, and this man asked this company for his last check. And they tried to be funny, and they gave him 96,000 pennies instead of writing him a check. I kid y'all not. They were mad, weren't they? But that man had to get all of those 96,000 pennies and take them to the bank. It was still money. So don't discredit yourself because you don't look like, shining bright like a diamond. Maybe you're a piece of coal and eventually you're going to become, a diamond or something like that. All right. All right. Love y'all. Thank you. You have a beautiful evening. Beautiful evening. Dolores Jones TV on YouTube. I am Dolores Jones, the comeback coach. And I definitely love to show you how to bounce back better, not bitter, through life experiences and bad decisions. You need to know how to turn your setbacks into a success story. So if you stick with me, I'm going to begin to share strategies and offer classes and even more books and do interviews with incredible people who have taken their own setbacks and came back. All right. All right then. Bye, y'all. Appreciate you.